Welcome back to the Garza Gaming channel. Today we're going to discuss a 9.9 update that's going live September 20th, right? But make sure you stay to the end of the video because I got some very juicy information to put out about the next 3 gods that is coming into Smite. That's right, the next 3 gods that is coming into Smite, and a new mode that's going to be introduced into Smite, right? That's very, very interesting. But hey, man, before we get too far into this video, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and turn on those notifications. We attempt to put out videos every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we're now streaming live here on YouTube every Tuesday at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time in the morning. And if I can't stream on Tuesday, I make it up the following Thursday. And you're looking for some really cool people to play with, man, we have over 500 gamers signed up to our Discord. Invite to that description in any of our videos and our website, garzagaming.com. Now we have a lot of information to cover in this 9.9 update. So hey, man, let's get started. So here we go with the 9.9 update that's going live next Tuesday or September 20th, right? So starting off, we're going to get a bunch of new skins, right? One for the Odyssey event that's going to be coming, plus the Battle Pass, and then some exclusive chests, right? But the cool thing is, as part of this Battle Pass is going to be this House of Phoenix Armamatsu, and then the Unicorn Chungao, and then this Dragon Lord type of Yu Hong, right? So those are I saw these in the stream on Wednesday. They actually look pretty decent, man. So, and the fact that they're part of the Battle Pass is really cool because I always get the Battle Pass, right? Now, some of them that was a little iffy, of course, was the Jackal Anubis that just looks like a reskin of his of his already Jackal one. But 2 of the cool ones that were kind of funny was the new Cat Atlas and this Momo Ratataskar. So if you're a real cat person, I'm sure you're going to love this new Atlas. This is going to be part of that Odyssey event, and then the Ratataskar is going to be a part of that crossover Avatar event, right? And then we got some more skins. This Agni one looked really, really cool. And this is also going to be part of that Odyssey event. But this one is not going to come out until the next bonus for 9.9, right? So that's going to come out around October 4th for these skins here. Now, they couldn't show us the new Tsukuyomi one, but just from the picture, it kind of looks like a Nightcrawler from X-Men, right? So I'll be very interested to see how this comes out once they're done with the actual model. And then the crazy one they had for Bakasura, the taco one, that's just a mess, man. And then they're going to come out with the King of Hearts Zeus, right? And this one, I don't know, I'm on the fence about. I kind of wish they would have done the King of Spades, not the King of Hearts, but I mean, it is what it is, right? But moving on, let's get to our first item of the day, right? So let's get into the items, the buffs or nerfs, right? So I'm telling you right now, everyone that plays a mage should rejoice, man. You know, about 2 or 3 updates ago, the mages got hit so hard, man. Not only did they strip us of a lot of pen on our items, but some of our individual gods were, you know, nerfed. Anywhere between 5 to 10% damage on top of that, right? Like our Noxes and our Zeuses. Well, guess what, baby? They're giving us back our flat pen. So right here for Divine Ruin, they're increasing the magical penetration from 12 to 15. Not just on Divine Ruin, but on Divine Ruin, Spear of the Magus, and Spear of Desolation. 3 of our main items that we use for most of my mage builds. So if you build like I do, like for my playstyle, dude, you're going to be rejoicing because that's going to give us an additional 9 flat pen on a build that you don't even have to change. It's like getting a free item addition, right? Now, 9 flat pen doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, once you see the added damage, it adds up pretty quick, especially early game. So I'm very, very happy about that. Now, Sphinx's bobble, they decreased the protection debuff from 15 to 10%. To tell you the truth, the Sphinx's bobble was very interesting when it allowed you to get your cooldown reduction cap up to 60%. But now that they nerfed it down to 50%, for me personally, I just don't think it's worth using anymore, to tell you the truth, at least for my builds and my playstyles. I experimented a little bit with Nox, and I did enjoy having a faster cooldown with my Nox. But dude, once I took that out and added that Pendulum of the Ages, my Nox was just destroying. I was doing anywhere between 30 to 50,000 damage with Nox, which is just craziness, right? So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But for anybody that uses the Sphinx's bubble, yeah, they're going to end up nerfing it a little bit. Now, the Magi Shelter, They ended up increasing the range that this item's passive can buff an ally from 25 to 40, which is huge. Increase the duration of the ally buff effect from 5 seconds to 8 seconds. That is pretty huge. I personally don't use this item, but I've seen some people in arena use it. So yeah, that is a big buff for that item, dude. Another big buff, the heavy executioner, right? They increased the god's attack speed cap from 1.75 to 1.9 while using this item. Dude, a 1.75 to 1.9 doesn't sound like a lot, but it is huge, dude. That is going to be a very, very big upgrade to this item. Are you going to see some hunters use this? Possibly, but not many. I can see some use cases where a hunter would use this, but I think this is more going to go into the assassin type, warrior type genre. But yeah, man, either way, dude, a jump from 1.75 attack speed to 1.9 attack speed is going to be really, really nice, right? Now, sovereignty, who cares? They decrease the passive effect on Aurora from hit points from 5 to his HP 5 from 35 to 25. Who cares? Sentinel's gifts, they increase the healing per assist from 12 to 15. Benevolence, increase HP 5 from 7 to 10. Who cares? War Flag, increase health and mana restored per passive trigger from 15 to 18. Now, here's another one that's going to make probably a lot of people mad, right? And I know in my stream, when we were doing our watch party on Wednesday, a couple of my subscribers were saying that they use this on their King Arthur builds or some of their warrior builds, right? But yeah, Soul Eater is getting a big nerf, man. They're increasing the stacks it takes to evolve it, this item from 75 to 100, man. You're gonna have to get 25 more stacks to evolve this Soul Eater. And then they increase the passive lifesteal from 25 to 20. So they decrease, not only is it gonna be a little harder to build this thing, or it's going to take you a little longer to build it, but once you do build it, it's nerfed by 5% lifesteal. You only get 20 lifesteal as opposed to 25% lifesteal. Is this going to deter people from using it? I don't know, man. I think that I've only used this item maybe on one of my builds, and to tell you the truth, I can't remember which one. So I don't use this item a lot. So I don't know, man. If you use this item, let me know in the comments down below if you think this is going to affect you or not, right? But yeah, that's definitely a huge nerf for the Soul Eater. Now, Blackthorn's Hammer, they increase the physical power from 25 to 30. That's a pretty nice jump. You know, anything that adds attack power is going to be great, but I believe at one time this thing was at 35 attack power, and I thought that was the sweet spot for it, right? So even at 30 physical attack power, don't get me wrong, you know, I'm happy if I use this item, which I don't think I do, but if I did use this item, I'd be really happy. I got at least 5 more physical power, right? But I still think that it's kind of weak for this item. I think that 35 would be the sweet spot for this. So who knows? Maybe in the future they'll give us that, right? Now, Warrior's Axe, they increase the passive god damage and self heal from 20 to 30. So they increase it by 50%, which is pretty big, man. That is a pretty big jump. So for those warriors that use Warrior's Axe, or those people that use Warrior's Axe, hey, that is a very, very nice nice buff for the Warrior's Axe. Now, Breastplate of Vigilance, right? Another item I really never use, but they increase the basic attack damage reduction aura range from 40 to 60. If I remember correctly, this is one of those items that actually has, I think, 20% cooldown on it, and I think has like 60 protections or something like that. But the passive on this item is when you do an ult, after your ult, I think nerf, or you nerf enemies around you, I guess now in the range of 60, right? And it decreases their attack speed. I can't remember by how much. I think it was like 15% or something, right? For X amount of time, whether it be 5 seconds or 4 seconds. I can't remember. But I think that was the gist of this item. Again, I don't really use it. I've never seen anybody use it, but I'm sure that some people out there use it in arena, right? But here we go with the gods, baby. Here we go with the gods. Mulan of all people, right? So for Mulan, they're actually giving her a small buff that's going to make her even more OP in arena, right? So for her grapple, they decrease the cooldown from 16, 15.5, 15, 14.5, and 14 to 14 across the board. There's no, that's from level 1, it's 14 all the way across, man. That is going to be huge, dude. Early game, losing 2 seconds on that cooldown is gigantic, dude. you're going to feel going from 60 seconds to cooldown to 14 seconds for sure, without a doubt. So that's a really nice buff for Mulan. Now, her Divine Mastery, right? They increase the base damage on her arrow shot from 150, 200, 250, 300, and 350 to, they pretty much increase it by 25 damage across the board, which is a very significant increase in damage, to tell you the truth, for her, for this ult, or for Divine Mastery. Now, Nike, right? So for Nike, her barrier formation, they decreased the cooldown from 15 seconds. Before this, this barrier formation was 15 seconds across the board. So whether you're in the late game or early game, it was 15 seconds cooldown, right? So now it's still going to be 15 seconds at level 1, but as you level up, it's going to go from 15 seconds to 14.5, 14, 13.5, and late game is going to have a cooldown of 13 seconds, which is going to be really, really nice for this god. Akwang. Akwang needed a little bit of love, man. Akwang is a very unique god, in my opinion. He's pretty much like a magical assassin, which is kind of hindered because he doesn't get all the cool benefits of those nice physical items that assassins would normally use, right? So for Akwang, what they ended up doing is actually buffing him up at the base level, right? So they increase his magical power scaling on his second and third hits of his attack chain from 50% to 75%, which is pretty cool, pretty cool. And then his attack, Windstorm, they increased the magical power scaling by 40% to 50%. So they pretty much beefed up his basic attacks to make him a little bit more powerful. And then they, gave him an extra 10% power scaling, not damage, but power scaling, 10% power scaling on his Windstorm. So that's going to be a significant increase in damage, I think. Now, Willix, for her, Willix, her passive, they increased the duration of the physical power debuff from 2.5 seconds to 4 seconds. Dude, that is a very, very nice upgrade to her passive. And then for her ult, Gravity Surge, they decreased the cooldown from 90, 85, 80, 75, and 70 to 80, 75, 70, 65, and 60. So they pretty much decreased the cooldown by 10 seconds on her Gravity Surge. So that's a pretty nice that's a pretty nice buff for Willix. Nissa, her Armory Sash, right? Her number 3. Increase the base damage from 70, 120, 170, 220, and 270 to 90, 140, 190, 240, and 290. So an increase, looks like what, 20 across the board. Yeah, 20 across the board damage on that ability, and they decreased it by the cooldown by 2 seconds. Dude, that is a huge buff to her number 3, man. This god is really a pain in the butt to me, especially when I play Ishtar. Having a jumping god that can do that type damage and those that knock-up ability that he has is just redonkulous, dude. So yeah, don't be surprised if you see a lot more of these Nissas in arena post kind of after Tuesday, right? Now for his ult, his wind fire wheels, right? They increase the protections after landing from 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40 to 20, 35, 40. So pretty much they increase it by 10 across the board on this one as well. This ability now provides 30, 35, 40, and 45, 50 protections for 4 seconds on fire, even if it's missed or cleansed. So that's cool, man. So what they're saying with this is, say that you go to do your ult and for some reason you get stunned or it gets cleansed and you don't knock nobody up, right? Or they age or something. While you don't get that knock up, you're still going to get the protections that this ability provides. So you're going to get those added protections that I'm sure that he's going to need when when the pucker factor hits that, what he was trying to do didn't go off, right? So that's a very nice addition to that ult. Susano, right? So this Wind Siphon increased physical power scaling from 60 to 75. His Typhoon increased initial base damage when refiring Typhoon immediately from 175, 225, 275, 325, 375 to 195, 245, 295, 345, and 395. So what's that? A 25% increase? No, 20% increase, right? Or 20 damage increase on that. But don't worry about it. I know a lot of y'all were probably like, what? I know I was the same way when they said this in that stream on Wednesday. I was like, oh my god, this dude's already OP as it is. Are you crazy? All that is for conquest only. Now for non-conquest, i.e. arena, what we care about, right? The Nerf hammer came out, baby. They Nerf bat just beat this dude down. So they made all his cooldowns 5% longer, and he's doing 5% less damage. So they ended up nerfing Susano in arena. So his cooldowns are going to take longer, and he's going to do 5% less damage, which is not a lot because this dude is freaking OP. Well, let me say, anybody that knows how to play him well can do very well with this guy. He's OP as crap. For beginners, he's a little hard. He's definitely not newbie friendly, but I'll tell you what, man, once you learn this guy and his combos, he is a beast in arena. Kukukan. This was a very big surprise for me, dude, because I don't think Kukukan's gotten buffed in like forever, right? So they ended up in buffing up his number one. And they increased the base damage from 60, 105, 150, 195, and 220, or 240, I'm sorry, to 85, 130, 185, 220, and 265. So what's that? 10, 25 late game. Yeah, 25 late game. So I tell you what, man, that is huge. 25 additional damage late game. But see, take this into consideration too. And this is why Kukukan is going to be even more OP, right? Because not only did they increase his number one, right? So now he's going to be doing more damage with this number one. But on top of that, they buff pretty much all the freaking flat pin items that we use for this guy. So you're going to get 9 more flat pin on top of being able to do increased damage on that one, dude. That is going to make Kukukan just that much better, right? So don't be surprised if you see your Kukukan damage increase significantly, right, after Tuesday, which is really, really cool, especially if you combine that with maybe a Polynomicon or something, right? That's just nasty, son. But anyway, moving on, right? Moving on. Here comes Raw. So Raw, it's funny because Raw, I actually have a Raw video coming out this week. And in fact, if you're watching this on Friday, I think Raw's video comes out on Sunday, so 2 days from now, right? And this was the first time I played Raw in over a year. But I can tell you why the build worked out beautifully. I'm not even a top tier Raw player, right? I'm a beginner to him, but I did really, really well with that build. I did feel that his ult was a little underwhelming. You know what I'm saying? Even with the amount of pin and attack power I had, his one just didn't seem like it had enough punch, right? Especially for as difficult as it is, because you actually get planted almost like a Sylvanas with his grab, right? You get planted to the ground and then you have to fire it off. So it has an even a higher level of complexity, or you know, to try to get it targeted right on the enemy, right? So they increased the magical power scaling from this from 100 to 115. So you're going to do an additional 15% more damage with power scaling, 15% more power scaling, not damage, power scaling with this, which is going to be huge, man. That's going to be really, really nice for this alt, and I think it warrants it. In fact, I wouldn't have cried if they would increase it to 120, just for the complexity of how hard it is to pull this alt off in arena, man. Especially when you have a lot of movement speed and stuff, it is very difficult, especially at the longer range it fires up, unless somebody's not paying attention, right? But enough about that. Vulcan, baby, one of my favorite mages is getting buffed. And I was surprised about this one too. And the cool thing is Backfire, right? Backfire no longer counts as a movement type ability, right? So now if you get crippled, so say like was it Ares throws a chain, because Ares is the bane of my existence when I play this guy, dude. So now by the sound of this, if Ares throws that chain on you, you can still use this attack. So that's going to be very interesting. What I want to see though, and what was not really explained in the stream, was, since it doesn't count as a movement ability, if you have that chain on you and I turn around and use this, do I still get that knockback, right? And if so, that is going to be gigantic, dude, gigantic. Or if you get caught in that Poseidon's whirlpool, right? Now if you can use this to blow yourself out of it, that's going to be gigantic. So I'm definitely going to be testing that as soon as this patch goes live, or this update goes live, right? And then in this Infernal Cannon, they decrease the cooldown from 15 seconds to 13 seconds, which is pretty cool. And then they reduce the mana cost of it. So I mean, you know, any addition to that makes your quality of life better is always good, right? Cilla, dude, this is another huge one, right? So like again, I'm not a top tier Cilla player. I played her, a good. I think I got her diamond, so I guess I played her quite a bit over the last few years, but not as much on my casual play. More for doing videos and trying to learn her, right? So I didn't look like a clown when I was doing my videos, right? But her number two, her crush, right? So this is the attack where she throws that AOE down, and the people that pass her AOE gets slowed, and then you can detonate it again, or it detonates. I think it's after like 5 seconds, right? And then it does damage. So prior to this update, the way I understood it and the way they explained it in the actual Wednesday in their stream, right? High Res or the Smite crew, they said that pretty much now when she does this initial, shoot through, initially shoots out her two, it puts that AOE on the ground, right? So anybody within that area gets slowed, and then when it detonates, if anybody gets hit, then their protections get reduced by however 15%, right? Well, now the way it's going to work is she's going to throw this AOE out there. Anybody that gets into it instantly not only gets slowed, but gets their protections reduced without even having to be part of the, it going off on her or igniting. Dude, this is going to be huge for Cilla, because if it works the way I understand it's going to work, that means that as soon as you throw that ring down there, and you know how you do that combo, right? You do her wrap, then you throw this down, or throw this down, do the wrap, and then ignite it. Either way, right? But if you throw that ring down, then wrap, right? As soon as you throw that ring down around the enemy, they're going to get that, not only the slow debuff, they're going to get this freaking magic protection debuff on them. So then you take damage from the wrap, because her wrap does damage, and then you ignite it again to do even more damage, dude. So that's going to be a compound damage just by having this mechanics of this change like that. But you're actually going to have pretty much a armor shred of 15%. Not 15, but 15% magic protections reduced. For tanks, dude, that's going to be huge. That's like 15 for every 100 that they have magic protections. So if a god has 300 magic protections, you're looking at what? 45 magic protections being stripped off him, right? So that's going to be huge, man. Especially for engaging tanks, that is going to be a very, very nice buff for Cilla. Now, Apache, right? His fleeting breath, increase the damage per tick by 20 late game. Is his empty the crypts, they reverted it from the duration from 5 seconds to 6 seconds. But guess what, baby? This is another one of those. It doesn't matter, because that is conquest only. For anything other than conquest, like arena, what we care about, right? They increased the ultimate cooldown from 10% to 15%. So they increased his ult cooldown penalty by another 5%. And the reason it says increase the cooldown penalty from 10% to 15% is because when you go into arena right now, you'll see those little swirly marks. And right now his ult is already nerf by 10%, right? So they just increased that 10% nerf by an additional 5%. So now he's going to be in arena. His cooldown is nerfed by 15%, not 10%. Kuzambo, another one that hasn't been touched in a long time, and he's actually getting a little bit of a buff. So for Kuzambo, his water bow, right, or his passive, the updated descriptions specify how this interacts with the new true hard CC category, right, to include the cooldown on losing stacks. Okay. But what's important of the updates for that is his watery grave, his ult, right? So they increase the damage after the first spin from 50 to 60%. So not to confuse anybody, right? Usually when he does his ult, after the first hit, right, he does full damage on that first hit, and then any hit after that gets nerfed by 50%. So you only do 50% damage for each additional hit, right? So now what's going to happen is on the first hit, you're still going to get, full hit on the first one. When the first hit you hit with a little turtle shell, and each additional one is going to get nerfed only by 40%, right? So you're going to be doing 60% of your normal damage instead of 50%. So you're getting a 10% increase in damage for each additional hit going forward. So that's pretty big, man. That's definitely pretty big. And another cool thing now is too, is while you're channeling in that ult, when you're spinning around like a little crazy turtle, right? Now they actually added 10% damage mitigations while you're in this ability. So now not only are you CC immune, but you're going to get an additional 10% damage mitigation, which is gigantic for this god, man. And I like Kuzambo, so I definitely embrace this one with open arms, right? So Rama, right? So for Rama, it's funny because today was supposed to be my Rama video. I actually have a Rama video queued up and I was going to play it today, but then the update for 9.9 came out. So I'm moving, I moved Rama's video to next Friday, right? Which I think is going to work out beautifully because then the new update comes out Tuesday, which is going to make him even more powerful. And I tell you what, Rama's one of the hunters I played the least, man. I've only played a Rama maybe a handful of times. In fact, the last time I played Rama was like over a year to maybe a year and a half ago. But I tell you what, man, he's so newbie friendly that with the build that I used, it just came out beautifully, man. This was the first time playing him in so long, and I destroyed in arena, man. So it goes to show you how easy this god is to play. But I tell you what, you really don't see him much in arena. But I think this buff that he's getting in this update might help to see more Ramas in the future, right? So for his number 1, Astral Strike, they increase the damage done to targets beyond the first from 75% to 80%, right? So they added 5% damage, and then they increased the cooldown per shot by 5. Now for his ult, they increased the base damage from 180, 270, 360, 450, and 540 to 190, 280, 370, 460, and 550. So they increased it by 10 across the board. Not a very big buff, but it's pretty much reverted to the way it was before they nerfed it last time. And I can tell you, while his ult is pretty cool because of the range, right? You can pretty much hit people from the other side of the freaking planet. It did feel a little bit weak. Is an added 10 damage gonna help? I think it is, man. I really think it is. I mean, it's not going to make it overwhelmingly OP more than it is, right? But any little bit of more damage to that ult is going to help out. So I definitely welcome that that addition to his kit for sure. The added damage to his kit. Kernos, for his passive, right? His cleave. So for y'all that didn't play Kernos, he is a range hunter, right? But he has this little thing that looks like Kroll, right? And if you ever, for all you old OGs, I remember seeing that movie Kroll. So he has this big like star thing that he throws like a disc, right? Like a ninja, big giant ninja star, right? But the cool thing about it is when he has it in his hand, he can actually slice and dice at melee range, almost like a melee weapon, right? So when you do that, he actually gets added damage. He gets bonus damage from doing that, from not throwing it and actually doing melee damage. So they increase that passive additional damage from 25% to 35% of his basic attack damage. So they gave you 10% more damage when you use that at melee range, which is gigantic, dude. 10% more damage is huge, right? And then his little AoE is a bramble blast, or his little AoE, right? They increase the damage of initial hit from 60, 95, 130, 165, and 200 to 70, 105, 140, 175, and 210. So they increase it by 10 across the board damage, right? That's on the initial hit. So when he throws his AoE out, if it hits somebody, it does damage, and then when it drops on the floor, it does tick damage, right? So they increase the actual tick damage of that AoE, whether it fell on them or somebody walks through it, by 2 across the board. So it's going to do 2 more damage across the board per tick on that. So that's a very big buff, I think, for Kernos. So yeah, that's pretty much all for the 9.9 update. Now keep in mind that this update goes live September 20th, right? So the September 20th, we're going to get a few of those skins, and then there's going to be a second 9.9 bonus update that's going to come out on October 4th. And the closer we get to that update, I'm sure that we're going to get more information on that. Now, I don't believe that they're going to do any type of update stream on that. The patch is just going to come out and we're going to have the update notes, so expect to see a video from me on that. But hey, man, that is the 9.9 update to Smite. Now, I have a little bonus information to pass out to y'all, right? So when we were watching this stream, they were talking about all the various different changes that's going to come to conquest, right? So there's going to be a new conquest type theme that looks more like with Kentucky torches and volcanoes and things of that sort, right? So it kind of Hawaiian type, Samoan type feel to it. So that pretty much puts in stone what I think is going to be the next god coming to Smite, and I do believe that's going to be Maui, right? So if y'all seen that cartoon that that The Rock played, that Maui character, that god of the sea, right? I think that that's going to be the next god for Smite. Now, some other additional information that they put out on the two gods after Maui, and like I said, nothing's been confirmed. That's just my guess. I think is going to be Maui. There was supposed to be one more god to come out in December timeframe, right? Before the end of the year. Well, I think that they ran into some type of complications with that god, whether it be its kit or his artwork or something. Something came up where I think that they weren't able to finish that god. So what Maui is going to be the last god of this year. In January, we're going to get a new god that's supposed to have been, probably came out in December, but that guy got moved to January. And guess what? In February, we're getting another god. So for next year, the first 2 months, we're going to get two gods, one right after the other. So that should be pretty interesting, man. Now, I know nothing about, I haven't heard no hearsay. I haven't heard jack dilly squat on the two gods after Maui. Now, Maui, I had a little bit of intel on that. I've seen some of the data mining information. And then once I saw the changes of conquest, it pretty much solidified that it's going to be him. But I know nothing about the two gods that are coming in January and February, but I will try to do some research and see if I can get y'all some information. But yeah, man, I figured y'all be happy to hear that. For sure, I'm 99.9% sure that's going to be Maui. I could be wrong, but we'll see. And another good news is the two new guys are coming the very first 2 months of next year. So that's going to be huge, man. I think that next year is going to be gigantic to Smite. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Oh, and before I go, there's a new type of mode that's coming out that they called a PvP adventure mode, right? In the Viking era, the northern gods, right? So that should be really, really interesting. They didn't go too far into detail, and I'm not sure if it's coming at the end of this year or next year, but be on the lookout for a new PvP adventure mode, right? I'm very interested to see what that's going to entail. And they're going to have more information for us, I'm sure, in the next update stream they have. But that's just some food for thought. Again, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We put out videos every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're now streaming live on YouTube every Tuesday at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time in the morning. And if I can't stream on Tuesday, I usually push that to Thursday, right? And don't forget, man, if you're looking for some really cool people to play with in a non-toxic environment, come check out our Discord, man. We have over 500 gamers gaming daily on Discord. Invite to that description of any of our videos and on our website, garzagaming.com. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I'm Dark Garza, your OG on GC. See you next time.